And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, is where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. You can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 545-6516. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails like I always do. Well, on today's special segments, and we've got a special day today, it's going to be Sean LaFave and me, and we'll be talking about current events and much, much more. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. But before the news, I want you to know that at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 69 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? We're going to do the news. We've encapsulated it for you so that we can kind of touch on all the things that are current and hot that's going on, just in a brief way. And then we're going to come back in and we're going to try and do a little bit more in depth. But right now, it's the 10 things you need to know for today, Thursday, your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably most of the day tomorrow. First off, evidence points to bomb in the Russian passenger jet crash. Intercepted communications suggest that an Islamic State affiliate planted an explosive device on the plane, a U.S. official tells the Associated Press. And a hero officer whose death prompted a manhunt staged suicide. The Illinois policeman, lauded as a hero after his fatal shooting, in fact, killed himself because he was about to be exposed as a thief, authorities say. And who's under pressure to dump Trump? You heard me right, dump Trump. Groups complaining about what they call the candidate's hate speech are demanding that NBC cancel his appearance on this weekend's Saturday Night Live. Yeah, fat chance. How about this? Senate panel investigating drug pricing. As part of the probe, the committee wants to face-to-face meeting with Turing Pharmaceuticals CEO Martin Shkreli, whose company raised the price of an anti-infection drug by more than 5,000%. Well, somebody's got to talk to this dude. How about this? United States Defense Chief taking a symbolic swipe at China. Defense Secretary Ash Carter is visiting an American aircraft carrier in the South China Sea, amplifying the U.S. view that China is making excessive claims that nearly all the waterway is its territory. Yeah, they create these artificial islands and then they call it their territory, and then put that barrier around, the 12-mile barrier or whatever it is around them. How about this? Canada swears in its new prime minister. Justin Trudeau now has the chance to restore the liberty legacy of his late father. Pierre Trudeau served as prime minister from 1968 to 1984 with a short interruption. And why more ads are popping up on Instagram. It's all part of Facebook's plan to make more money from its newer services, like the mobile photo sharing app, which it bought for $1 billion back in 2012. And expectations are changing for American teachers. The vast majority of states now require that teachers be evaluated, at least in part, on student test scores, up sharply from just 6 years ago. And which music stars are now a couple? Well, singers Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani, both mentors on NBC's The Voice, are dating a representative for Shelton says. Yeah. And finally, Johnny Manziel to start at quarterback for Cleveland. With first stringer Josh McCown out with his rib injury, Manziel will be under center when the Browns take on the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what? We got a few minutes. Let's get into a little more in depth. Let's talk about a little Q&A here. Drama may not be over in the Illinois officer case. The revelation that a hero police officer stole money and killed himself in a way that made it appear he was gunned down in the line of duty has shaken a small town in northern Illinois, and the drama may not be over. Authorities say they have strong evidence at least 2 others were involved in the embezzlement of thousands of dollars from the Fox Lake Police Explorer Youth Program, led by Lieutenant Charles Glinowitz. One official says the officer's wife and one of their sons is under investigation. The family accepted thousands of dollars in donations when people thought Glinowitz gave his life to keep them safe. What now? Well, how did this all start? Well, Glinowitz became anxious after Fox Lake hired its first professional administrator, Ann Martin, who made it one of her first orders of business to review finances and inventory assets of all village departments, including the Explorer program. Marin told the Associated Press that the lieutenant didn't seem to have answers, which made her want to look deeper. She said their emails were neither heated nor tense, and that he responded, yes, ma'am, when she asked for documents. Still, he avoided producing the numbers until his dying day. He emailed me and said, I'll have it to you by 1 or 2 o'clock. And then the incident happened, she said. So, what was he up to? Well, Glinowitz, a 30-year-old veteran with a base salary of $92,000, embezzled thousands of dollars from the village's Police Explorer program for 7 years, spending the money on mortgage payments, travel expenses, gym memberships, and adult websites while making loans and cash withdrawals, according to Lake County Major Crimes Task Force Commander George Filinko. In the latest twist, Detective Chris Cavelli told the Associated Press today that Glinowitz also tried to find a hitman to kill Marin and may have considered planning cocaine to discredit her with a drug possession charge. Now, enough of that, It gets deeper and deeper and deeper, right? Yeah, that just seems to be the way it always goes. Well, Russia, Egypt, both dismissed suggestions a bomb caused the crash. 5 days after Russian jetliner broke apart high above the Sinai, Russia, and Egypt on Thursday, dismissed Western suggestions that a terrorist bomb may have caused the crash that killed 224 people, saying the speculation was a rush to judgment. British Prime Minister David Cameron, who spoke on the to the presidents of both countries in the very public dispute, said he had grounded all British flights to and from Sinai Peninsula because the intelligence and information indicating a bomb was the probable reason a Metrojet Airbus A321-200 plane had crashed Saturday in the desert. The British and U.S. officials, guided primarily by intelligence intercepts and satellite imagery, have suggested gingerly it might have been the work of the extremist Islamic State group and its affiliates in the Sinai. We don't know for certain that it was a terrorist bomb, but it's a strong possibility, Cameron said. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to give you some more news. We're going to talk about down in the polls, Christie's at risk of missing the debate main stage. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We're talking news. And right now, down in the polls, Christie's at risk of missing the debate main stage. Chris Christie could be bumped from the main stage at next week's GOP presidential debate. And Bobby Jindal and George Pataki risk being left out altogether. They're potential victims of poor showings in national polling and the way those surveys are actually being used. Fox Business is to announce today, or this evening I should say, the candidates who will appear on stage in Milwaukee next Tuesday, a decision based on a selection of polls. Should the lineups change from the party's earlier debates, it will further underscore concerns about the pivotal role such surveys have played in shaping the contest for the GOP nomination. Statistically, there is no significant difference between candidates lumped together near the bottom of the pack in national polls, which typically have a margin of error of about 3 percentage points or more. I tell people, ignore the national polls and just follow those early states, said Republican pollster Frank Luntz, who argues early opinion surveys are notoriously unreliable, except that now national polls drive the debates and debates drive the polling. Wow. You know what? Could be a disservice to everybody, right? Including you and me who want to hear these people actually have a debate and not listen to the moderators actually bump up the ratings for their own stations. Well, a detective, a hero cop sought hitman to cover up thefts. Yep, you heard me talk about it a little bit earlier. Months before an Illinois police officer staged his suicide to make it seem like he died in the line of duty, subjecting his community to an expensive and fruitless manhunt, he apparently sought a hitman to kill a village administrator he feared would expose him as a thief. A detective told the Associated Press just today. Detective Chris Covelli said Lieutenant Charles Joseph Glinowitz sent a text in April asking a woman to set up a meeting with a high-ranking gang member to put a hit on the village manager. Glinowitz sent another message in May saying he had thought of planting things, which made more sense after investigators found small packages of cocaine in Glinowitz's desk after he died, Covelli said. The drugs were not linked to any case that we could find, raising the possibility that the lieutenant sought to frame the manager, Ann Marin, as a drug criminal before she could expose him as an embezzler, the detective said. We never found any explanation why those drugs were in his desk at the police station, Covelli said. Yeah, I guess. Can you imagine the extent that he was going to go to in that case and what he was going to do? Wow. And ultimately, you suppose he really could have gotten away with it? I kind of doubt it. Well, Netanyahu appointment casts a cloud over the United States visit. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's newly appointed spokesman today apologized for a series of insulting comments about U.S. President Barack Obama and Secretary of State John Kerry days before his boss heads to Washington on a fence-mending mission. The apology from Ran Baratz, issued by Netanyahu's office, cast a cloud over Monday's visit. Netanyahu and Obama have had a chilly relationship over the years, and the meeting is meant in part to repair ties after repeated clashes over the U.S.-led nuclear deal with Iran. In Washington, the State Department called Baratz's comments troubling and offensive and claimed the Prime Minister had promised to renew the appointment. Netanyahu announced Baratz's appointment as his chief spokesman late Wednesday, and soon after, old Facebook posts had emerged in which Baratz suggested that Obama is anti-Semitic and Kerry cannot be taken seriously. He also derided Israel's popular president as marginal. Wow. Baratz's appointment still needs cabinet approval. A government official speaking on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to discuss the issue said a vote had not yet been scheduled and that Baratz would not be joining Netanyahu on the trip to Washington. Boy, I guess not. You know, how much trouble can you get into, for Pete's sake? That's crazy. Well, you know what? Speaking of trouble, how about this? Experts dismiss Carson's belief that the pyramids were used to store grain. I'm sure you heard about this. Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson today stood by his belief that Egypt's Great Pyramids were built by the biblical figure Joseph to store grain, an assertion dismissed by experts who say it's accepted science they were tombs for pharaohs. Video posted online Wednesday by BuzzFeed News shows Carson explaining his theory 17 years ago at a Michigan college affiliated with his Seventh-day Adventist church. In the video, Carson says, "My own personal theory is that Joseph built the pyramids in order to store grain." He was referring to the Old Testament story of Joseph predicting famine and advising the Pharaoh to store surplus food. Carson said that's more likely than the accepted archaeological conclusion that the massive structures were built as tombs for pharaohs. At a book signing Thursday in Florida, Carson stood by his statement. Some people believe in the Bible like I do and don't find that to be silly at all, and believe that God created the earth and don't find that to be silly at all, Carson said. The secular progressives try to ridicule it every time it comes up, and they're welcome to do that. Well. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that something? Who can figure it out? The guy, how can he be so smart and so dumb at the same time? Well, a teen discovers his real identity when applying to college. An Ohio teenager applying to college discovered some startling things about himself because of a discrepancy involving his social security number, his real name, and that he was allegedly snatched from his mother in Alabama by his father when he was 5 years old. Father and son were discovered living under assumed names this week in Cleveland, where, by all accounts, 18-year-old Julian Hernandez was an excellent student and had been well cared for. The father, Bobby Hernandez, 53, was arrested and faces charges that could send him to prison for a decade or more. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case today is the IRS must consider a company's tax payment program. I'll expand on that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. And right off the top of it, the IRS must consider a company's tax payment plan. Sounds reasonable, doesn't it? Well, listen to this. A company lost money in 2005 and fell behind in paying payroll taxes. Now, the new owners returned it to profitability in 2006. At the start of the year, they proposed a plan to pay all current taxes starting in the second quarter of 2006 while paying off the back taxes in installments. But the IRS appeals officer rejected the plan, saying that he had to because the company was not paying its current first quarter 2006 taxes. Now, the IRS started collection actions, and the company went to court for some justice. This is what the judge said. The appeals officer was simply wrong to say that he couldn't consider a reasonable payment plan because the current quarter's taxes weren't paid. The IRS is ordered to consider that plan now. Well, you know what? You know what they say about gravity, right? Gravity flows down, not up. So the IRS not only considered it, but gave him the plan, approved it. How about this? The IRS concedes, and you know the position that I have. The IRS never concedes unless they're pretty doggone sure that they're not going to be able to prevail in tax court, which is what the case is in this case, too. This is the key. This is the deal. A taxpayer can seek a new refund after agreeing not to. Here's the case. A company settled an audit dispute with the IRS by signing IRS Form 870-8D, and which says that the taxpayer won't make an additional refund claim and the IRS will not assess any new tax unless it discovers additional wrongdoing by the taxpayer. Then, the company filed a number of new refund claims. IRS auditors sought to dismiss them, citing the agreement. IRS legal opinion is this. Form 870-AD is not a closing agreement that finally settles a year's tax, but applies only to items covered by the audit. And here, during the audit, neither side had taken any position on the items leading to the new refund claims, so the company remained free to make those claims. And not only were they free to make the claims, they got the claims. And that's exactly what should have happened. You know what? I love it when the IRS loses. Especially, even when it's their own game. They deserve to lose. That's how I feel about it. How about this? The IRS loses. They cannot get work papers of a company's accountants. Yep, that's right. You would think that's normal, but it's not. Here's the thing. Tax accounting work papers generally are not protected by any privilege of confidentiality, such as lawyer-client privilege. But in a recent case, when the IRS summoned work papers, the company refused to provide them, saying that they included notes to its lawyers about how likely the IRS was to challenge certain items and the amount of reserves set aside to cover the challenges. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. The work papers were privileged from the IRS because they were prepared in anticipation of litigation against the IRS. Their only value to the IRS was not in revealing the company's tax liability, but in revealing its litigation strategy. Therefore, the company can keep them secret from the IRS. God, don't you just love this stuff? I mean, it just puts chills up and down my spine. I'll give you another one. The IRS loses. They must pay the taxpayer's legal costs for a conceded case. Now, the IRS tried to hold Clyde T. Kinnison personally liable for $160,000 of employment taxes that it said his business owed. But the IRS eventually admitted that it sent the tax assessment after the deadline for doing so and concluded the case. Kinnison then asked the court to order the IRS to pay his legal costs. IRS said that it shouldn't have to do so because its position had been reasonable until it missed the assessment deadline. Here's what the judge said. In administrative proceedings, Kinnison had offered the IRS evidence that the tax had been paid, but the IRS rejected it, giving no reason. That was unreasonable. So the IRS must pay Kinnison's costs from that date until the date that he actually conceded the case. And that's exactly what you would expect to have happen, right? That's what I would have expected to have happen. Yeah. Now, you know what? You've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS does stuff. That's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Oh, yeah, here we are inside the IRS. Now, this is not a tax court case, but it's when you're, it's common sense and it's precedents and things that the IRS does that you should be aware of to protect yourself. In this particular case, it's making a deal to reduce your credit card debt can mean problems with the IRS. Let me tell you about it. If you are solvent, that means your assets exceed your liabilities, and you compromise or settle the amount of debt that you owe a credit card company, or any creditor for that matter, the amount of debt discharged represents taxable income to you. Now, many credit card companies will file a Form 1099-C, that's cancellation of debt, with the IRS to report the amount of debt that you were relieved of paying. Now, the best approach here is do not compromise your debt until you are insolvent or have the debt discharged in a bankruptcy proceeding. That is the best route for you to take. Now, do not go away. I am so excited. Waiting in the wings is my good buddy Sean Lefebvre. And you know what? Sean and I are going to do some in-depth talking about current events and the things that are going on in the news today and any other thing that he may want to talk about, including things that may be interesting to his mother Susan. You never know. In any event, don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages with my good buddy, Sean Lefebvre.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 69 degrees here in the heart of the Southland in sunny Southern California. By the way, my good old buddy Sean Lefebvre is out in Laguna Beach, and I want him to know that it's also 69 degrees out there and clear. But you know what? Let's get him in here. We got lots of stuff to talk about. Let me get him introduced in the proper way.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard, buddy. How you doing?
I'm great, Robert. How are you doing?
God, you take that breath just before you start talking, and I think, uh-oh, he's not there. I've got a problem.
It throws me off because I used to be able to hear
the intro,
the whole introduction and everything, and now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Boom, and you're like, hi, you're kind of preying on me. You're like a Tigger. You just pounce on me now.
I wish there was some way around that. I've got to figure out some way around that thing. I need somebody smarter than me to figure it out. But
that's right. It's a good surprise every now and then. It's fine in life. So
keeps you on your toes. Well, it keeps us both on our toes because I'm thinking, I got to fill in or I got to do something because. So hey, listen, I meant to tell you, last week, Tuesday it was, we were talking a great deal and your mom was listening, and I got the nicest email message from your mother. You know what? I think I like talking to her more than I like talking to you.
Well, you're not the first person to ever say that, so join the club there, buddy.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, what a nice lady, and very defensive of her son too.
She's great, and she's definitely a lot sweeter than I am. That's for sure.
Well, I couldn't understand how she could know you as long as she did and still be able to defend you.
Well, I think that's it's a good question. I don't know if I have a response for it. I think she's just trying to keep me out of prison, to be honest. I think if she says enough nice things.
Somehow I don't think there's any danger to that. Hey, listen, have you been watching the news the last couple of days? I'm specifically going to talk to you about Ben Carson for a minute.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You have or have not?
I don't watch the news like on TV, but I try to follow it like on. I go online and I try to get my news online, and go to. I know that everyone that's anywhere left of Attila the Hun just hates Fox News, but I do watch it. But I get my news from Fox. I look at CNN and I look at MSNBC, so I actually try to get a good mix of stuff.
You know what? I listen. You're going to be surprised. I listen to them all because I want to get all the different perspectives and all the corners and all the things that are going on. And I'm not getting into a religious issue here. And Ben Carson is very evangelical. But did you hear he's now explaining the Great Pyramids of Egypt as being the grain storage facilities that were built. They weren't built to house the pharaohs, but to house grain. Every scientist on earth disagrees with him, but he's citing the Bible with it. And you know what? And how do you say the guy is wrong? I mean, I personally think he's wrong. I mean, I have a tough time understanding a man with such a tremendous intellect and who is such a genius in one area and so god-awful stupid in another.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that one. I just sometimes he says stuff that I go, what, did you even think for a half a second before you open your mouth on that one? Because the vast majority of stuff, and I can tell you Ben Carson is not my favorite. There's a lot of reasons I don't like him.
Well, he's a long way from my favorite. And I'm not, and I don't want to get into a political issue here, but no, I believe, like you said, I think he's a very intelligent guy, and I think that he's got some great things. That I think there's some great things that he would do, even if he became president. I still think he would do a good job. There's some things that he would do that at least I would hope he would not actually be able to do. But yeah, that whole comment about the whole pyramids, and I was just like, what is he thinking? Okay, yeah, maybe. I honestly don't know how biblically he even supports that, because I've never heard anybody even say that. And I've studied the Bible, and I think he's taking a giant leap, Sean. I think what's happening is, so. We know that the story is that Joseph had told the pharaohs that they were going to have this tremendous famine and that they needed to store, tremendous supplies of grain, right? And I think that he's trying to put those two things together. But he just every once in a while, almost every week, he says something that just blows my mind, and I don't get it. I'm an accountant by trade, a retired accountant, but I'm an accountant by trade. When he was talking at the last debate, he was talking about his tax plan, and I was thinking to myself, God help us if he actually tries to institute that thing.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of things about him that I like, a lot of things I don't like, and I just don't know where he's coming from on some of this stuff. And you can't, you can't make, especially when it comes to religion, to make an assumption and speak about it as if it's fact, you're just putting yourself on a skewer at that point. You're never going to get away with it.
John Kennedy had to make an issue. Matter of fact, so did Barack Obama. They both had to make issues about their religions, and John Kennedy was the first one to say, "Hey, look, I'm running for president, and if I'm president, it'll be Jack Kennedy will be the president who happens to also be a Catholic." And in the case of Barack Obama, you know what? He happens to be a man of color. But he's going to be Barack Obama, President of the United States, who just happens to be a man of color. That's not going to dictate what he's doing. But I have this fear that Ben Carson is going to go in there and he's going to make his decisions based on the Bible, and that's not who I want. It's not, and I'm not putting down the Bible. I would never do that. But that's not what I want. I want somebody to make decisions based on what's right for the United States and the citizens, all of the citizens within the United States.
And I would agree with you. It's, I think that having a strong faith is good. I do believe that, to make your decisions based on your values that you get from the Bible is a good thing, but to use the Bible as the only guidebook that you have is just not going to go over well at all, because it's a very different world. There's culturally things in the Bible that just don't play out in today's world, and you can't use that same standard of accountability or standard of moral values. I mean, the basics of them, sure, you want to keep those in place, but when you read the Bible, there's a lot of really good stuff in there, but you have to sort of extrapolate.
Absolutely.
What was being said, why was it being said, and what's the context of the culture in which it was being said?
And that's exactly right. Every theologian and every historian will tell you that the Bible has been found to be accurate with most of the stuff that's there. However, you have to interpret it based on not what you're reading, but the times, is what you were saying. Sort of like, Adam and Eve had 485 kids. Well, we know they didn't have 485 kids. All they're saying is they had a lot of kids.
Yeah, they had a lot of kids. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And of course the Bible also says they lived to be like 1,000 years old too. And who knows? Maybe they did. Maybe people did live longer whenever Adam and Eve were around. If that was the case, maybe they did live longer, because even I was just reading about. It's funny. I was having a discussion with one of my son's friends yesterday, who's this young guy, 22 years old, just super smart. He's in college, but he's also the pastor of social media at Mariners Church, which is right across the street from our house. And it's a really huge church. It's a massive. I mean, it's so big that they have a pastor just for social media. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking to him about I can't remember what it was. We were talking about I think it was sexual relations or something like that, and I said, you got to be careful, watch out who you have sex with, especially if it's one of your maids or your maidservants. I said, that's how Islam came about. And he just kind of giggled. And what happened was Abraham was married to Sarah, and they wanted to have kids, but she was infertile, and so she gave him permission to have a child with his maidservant. Oh gosh, I can't think of her name all of a sudden.
Yeah, but I know who you mean. Yeah.
But they had a child, and his name was Ishmael, and Ishmael was the one of the forefathers of Abraham. Of Muhammad. So Muhammad is a direct descendant from Ishmael, and so they're saying that's the link from Abraham to Islam was that child Ishmael. But when you read it in his history books, like even going online, not even looking at the Bible, they said that he lived to be 137 years old.
And we know better. We know better, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe the moon cycle was used. I don't know if it was. I don't know. Maybe people were able to live.
Well, maybe he actually lived in Claremont, California, and that's why he lived so long. It's sort of like when you start interpreting the Bible. If you are a neophyte and you're going to be a purist, and it seems to me that that's what Ben Carson is, and I shouldn't be picking on Ben Carson because it's people in general. And the thing is that, I should be picking on Ed Carson. But if you think about it, if you think about the Bible and you're going to take it literally, then I suppose you'd have to say that God then not only condoned, but he actually encouraged incest. Because look at, Adam and Eve, and then all their kids were making kids with their own kids, right?
You know what? There's exactly. Now, there are parts in the Bible where they talk about don't do that anymore. But, at the time, obviously, there wasn't a lot of choice. If in fact, the Bible is true that it was just Adam and Eve and then their descendants, certainly, there had to be an incestual relationship in order to build and perpetuate. And, of course, the philosophy is, back then, the DNA line, the genetic makeup was so pure that you could do that and get away with it, where nowadays you can't do that because there's been so much genetic degeneration, so much degeneration in the DNA structure.
Hey, listen. Speaking of the Bible, do you know who the straightest man in the Bible was?
No, who's that?
King David. He was a ruler.
He was only 12 inches tall.
I didn't say he was tall. I said he was straight.
Anyway, the Bible always talked about him being small when he went up to Goliath, but I didn't realize he was only 12 inches tall. Maybe he was a yardstick. I don't know. That's funny. I like that.
So listen, when we come back, I want to talk to you about this jet crash that took place in the Sinai. It's actually it's a Russian plane with 224 Russians, I think, went down, and then 14 kids and whatever it is. When we come back from this commercial break, I want to talk to you a little bit about that, a little insight, no insight, as you and I having a good conversation about Obama and David Cameron and Vladimir Putin and maybe Assad at the same time. Let's look at that a little bit and dig in a little bit and see what we think.
Sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back with my good buddy Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. I don't know if we should be calling it that today, but you know what? We're going to be good. We will call it with my good buddy Sean LaFave. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Don't.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy, Sean LaFave. And you know what we're talking about? Well, just about anything and everything. And we all have an opinion, except that, the only opinions that really count around here are his and mine. So let's get right to it. Hey, Sean, before we went on our break, I kind of suggested we were going to talk about this airplane that went down, the Russian passenger jet that went down, and giving it some thought. I mean, it sounds like you watch as many news programs as I do, or a lot of news programs anyway. And it seems like the consensus is this: we have the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Great Britain, who used the same intelligence sources and came up with a different explanation. The President of the United States says that the bombing of that plane is a probability or possibility. And then David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, says, nah, it's a probability. It's most probable that that's what happened over there. And then you have Vladimir Putin who's saying, hold on, guys, not so quick. Let's wait until the full investigation is done. Of course, we still don't know who's actually doing that investigation, because if it was ISIS that took that plane down, and they're the ones that are saying they did it, it's Vladimir Putin. Even though he says he's in there fighting ISIS, he's in there supporting Bashar Assad, and that now means that he needs to get in there and get Assad out of there. We have 4 or 3 different positions going on out there. It seems to me that it's more reasonable that there was we know it wasn't a missile, that there was a bomb on board that plane. And we have ISIS saying, yeah, they did it. Well, it seems to me also that since ISIS now is attacking Russia because they're getting involved in Syria because of Assad, that Russia is going to want to go more strongly after ISIS and not just the people that are in opposition to Assad. What do you think? That's a lot, huh? That's a lot, huh?
That was a mouthful, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's it's in a crazy world. I'm going to start with that. And it's funny how Obama, to say that it's possible, and you got England saying it's that it's probable. I'm assuming that he's saying it by the difference in the words there, meaning that that Obama's kind of almost dismissing it, where the Prime Minister of England is saying, no, this is very likely that this is what happened. We don't know 100% certain, but it's probably the case. That just kind of plays into Obama's unwillingness to just call it what it is.
You're going exactly where I want you to go. That's perfect.
And I just don't get him. Why can't you just call a terrorist, and call a Muslim terrorist instead of saying radical Islamist, or I don't know why he's so afraid of offending people who would love to just walk up to us and cut our heads off.
This would not be a problem if when he put that line in the sand, he'd actually done something when people crossed over it. And here's the issue. You know why I think that we have these different definitions of what's going on? Because there were no Americans on that airplane. There were Britons on that airplane, and that plane was headed to Great Britain. And but the majority of people who died as a result of that bomb were Russian, and so it was actually, there's no question it was attacked because of Russians' involvement in Syria. Somewhere along the line, things are going to get heated and get bad, and I think what Obama is doing, and I'm probably giving him more credit than I should, is that, it's such a, what's the word I want to, a firestorm there, that, that Syrian desert could wind up, the Sinai could wind up being the catalyst for World War III if we're not terribly careful. We're talking about the Middle East, we're talking about Israel, we're talking about Russia, we're talking about Great Britain, we're talking about, all the allies we got involved there. Somebody had better be, tiptoeing in the tulips around there, because that's going to be a real serious thing. The best thing that could happen for all of us is that Vladimir Putin says, you're not going to treat my people that way, and he just goes in there and cleans house so we don't have to. And then later on, after he's cleaned ISIS out of there, then we can flex our muscles.
And I think that's unfortunately what really needs to happen is we need someone like Putin right now, and it's sad to say that the leader in this world who's standing up and taking care of his people against these terrorists, against these monsters, is in fact the leader of Russia and not the leader of the United States. And it's easy for Obama to go, well, it's possible, because he doesn't want to come right out and admit the fact that, hey, you know what? If we piss off these guys in the Middle East, they're going to come try to attack our commercial airliners and kill our people. Imagine, he doesn't, I know that part of him is he wants to be political, and he doesn't want to, kind of stir the pot and get the American people going, oh my gosh, if we go fight them, are we next? If they get it to the Russians, can they do it to us? Now we need more security, and I see that, but I love the fact that Putin will go out and that last little stint that he did destroyed so much. Imagine what he's going to do if he finds out that, in fact, yes, this was ISIS, and yes, this is a retaliation for what we did. Well, I can see Russia retaliating a lot harder, and unfortunately, you're right. This could be a catalyst for a world war, and I don't know how a world war would look nowadays, because the playing field is so much different than it was.
It would be ugly if you're talking about Russia, the United States, and Israel, all of them having nuclear weapons, all of them being nervous, and all of them not willing to be patient about what's going on. It could be a horrible, horrible thing. I
would hope that we would not be stupid enough, if this broke out into a much larger scale war, I would hope that we would be smart enough, I guess, to side with the Soviet Union on this, to once finally fight by their side, because that is the only way that we could end it quickly and not create a major catastrophe. Well, if it was a world war, if it was Russia against the United States again, we're done.
Yeah,
it's over.
The world is over.
There's no coming back from that.
That's right.
If it was Russia, and if the United States just sided with Israel, which most people in the U.S. I think do, but there's those there's enough of them out there that just want to pretend that Israel is this horrible monster, and they've got a real tiny piece of land, and as if they don't deserve that. You're like, well, where would you like them to live? I mean, Palestine. If Palestine was such a wonderful place and it was full of such wonderful people, why is the rest of the Arab world telling them, we don't even want you?
Yeah.
Like the rest of the Arab world doesn't even want Palestine. So I mean, that should tell you something. These people hate Israel. The whole Arab world hates Israel, but they still don't want the Palestinians. So we really need to Obama needs to man up for once in his presidency and stand by Israel and go, hey, you know what? We're going to be there for you guys if all hell breaks loose.
Well, the problem is we created Israel. We were one of the three countries that created Israel and a place for the Israelis to go. And we didn't pick the nicest place on earth. They are the ones that actually developed any kind of infrastructure and agriculture and the things that they've done. And of course, the strength that they have today is not just an inherent desire there to survive, but it's the United States providing them with training and weapons and money and support and all those things. So when you stop and think about it, I still don't think I understand it. Here we are. We want to fight ISIS, but we're like a yo-yo. We're in, we're out. We're in, we're out. We're in, we're out. Yeah. Now we send, Russia has their first troops that they put on the ground. They put 5,000 troops on the ground. They now have missile bases on the ground. They now have military bases on the ground. They're going to go in there and do something. And what did we do? We sent 50 guys in.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? If I understand this correctly, there are somewhere around only 40,000 troops for ISIS. The problem is we will knock off a couple thousand of them over a weekend, and the next weekend they got them back again because of their recruiting system. But the truth is, there's only about 40,000 of them. Well, you know what? What the hell happened when we had 150,000 troops out there? We should have been able to spit on them.
You would think, but again, it goes back to, they are fighting guerrilla warfare style, so it's not like, they don't have military bases where where they put up a sign, welcome to a jihad military base, so it's not like that where we can just go in and we know where to attack them. They're so elusive in their location and their movements that part of it does make it difficult. But yeah, you think when we were there that, and of course, again, it goes back to, Obama. And I hate to be a person who just.
That's okay. You're preaching to the choir, buddy.
Yeah, who puts down the president of the United States, and he's like, I'm so proud of this country, but when he stood up and he said, "Oh, these ISIS guys, they're junior varsity. It's a JV team. They're not even there." Like he so dismisses everything.
Yeah. So why haven't we cleaned them out if they're the JV team?
Yeah, because they're not. These guys are top stars.
So here's, we train these guys, we give them weapons, and the first bullets that fly, they drop their weapons on the ground, they run, and then ISIS comes and picks them up, and now they're armed, right?
Right.
What on earth are we doing? I get no idea. It seems to me that what we ought to do is, first of all, Saudi Arabia and the Arab Emirates are out there. That is the strongest, richest, most armed country on earth, short of the United States and Russia. Why are we not making them fight their own damn battles out there in the Middle East? And then, you know what? When they're all done, we can go in there and clean house.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. I know when I was, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, and even back in Desert Storm, the Saudis, they had a small military, and the United Arab Emirates is a small military. I don't think they're honestly equipped to fight something like this, but I know that the Israeli army, or the Israeli military, now, of course, I was more involved with the flying world. You could ask anyone back in the day, and they'll tell you the greatest fighter pilots in the world were Israeli fighter pilots.
I think the greatest fighters in the world are the Israelis. I mean, you think about it. If they decided they wanted to clean house, if we would stop getting in their way, how long do you think it would take them?
If they wanted to get rid of Palestine, it would be a slaughter, and it would happen in a matter of, it would be over in probably weeks.
Well, I think they could solve the whole problem in the Middle East, and just be, if we would just stop tying their hands. How much? Think about this. Everybody is their enemy. Everybody wants to destroy them, kill them, just annihilate them. Now, how would you feel if you had your big brother saying, "That's okay, take it, turn the other cheek. Take it, turn the other cheek"? You know what? BS. That's just not going to happen. You know what? You hit me, and I'm going to hit you 1,000 times over.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And that's exactly what happens. That's the problem. Is, they've got the Iron Curtain, the Iron Dome. I mean, they've got the Iron Dome out there that, Palestine attacks and attacks and attacks. And they finally get tired of it. They're going, you know what? We're tired of this, so we're just going to lob a couple missiles over there and show you what we're capable of. And then all of a sudden, the U.S. media, the left liberal media just goes nuts. Oh, look at all this thing. They're launching missiles from Palestine. They're launching them from schools and from hospitals and of course, Israel's just got a defensive system. You can't touch them. Yeah. Their Iron Dome is so unbelievable that Palestine's never going to be able to do anything to them.
But the best thing that could happen is let Israel do it, because we're on thin ice with Russia. So if Russia does something, we're going to be mad. And if they do it to a NATO member, we've got to defend them. And if we do something, Russia's going to be mad. But if Israel does something, and we stand by and let them do it, yeah, everybody's going to get mad, but who's going to do anything about it? They're just a 2-0 country anyway, and so nobody's going to do anything about it. It's sort of like just control the damage control, right? And let them go ahead and handle that thing, put an end to it, and then let them get the freedom and the respect that they deserve. Yeah. Having said that, I can't believe it. This half hour is over already. This happens to you and I every doggone show. However, on this show, right, you're coming back. So we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave. And you know what? And we're solving the world's problems today. We'll be right back with Sean after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy Sean LaFave, and you know what? We're solving all the world's problems today. But you know what? I'm going to throw him a curve. We're going to move into another direction. Did you want to have the last? Did you want to have the?
You throw a curveball. Really, what are the odds of that? It never happens.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I throw a curveball, but it always covers the corner of the plate. It's always a strike.
That's true.
So here's the deal: we solved the problem in the Middle East, and we solved the problem with Russia and Great Britain, and hopefully this next election will solve the problem with the United States. But I want to take you to an area that you are really, really conversant about. Are you holding your breath? Are you holding? Are you holding your breath? Are you sitting down? Do you have a drink in front of you?
I'm on the edge of my seat and drinking and holding my breath.
All
Even
right.
though I'm talking, I can talk and hold my breath at the same time. It's a talent. It's really hard to do. You should try it sometime.
Okay, because I don't want you to turn blue or anything like that, So here's the deal. The Senate panel investigating drug pricing is part of the probe. The committee wants a face-to-face meeting with Turing Pharmaceuticals CEO Martin Scarelli, whose company raised the price of anti-infection drugs by more than 5,000%. Now, I know you have no opinion on this, right?
It's funny. That one is the one where it was like the AIDS drug, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, it was. It was an AIDS drug. Yeah. They're saying infection, but we're talking AIDS.
Yep. So my feelings on that one are kind of mixed. And, it's definitely a private industry. And what I don't understand is how the stuff was so cheap to start with. It was like, it went from like $10 a pill to $750 a pill or something like that.
Yeah.
And, my thoughts are, one, it would be nice to know that there are people out there who are, benevolent and are going to just, give the stuff away and make the world a better place. But there's also the side of me that's, that my economist in me that goes, we do need some balance in the world, and there needs to be an understanding that this stuff isn't free. It takes a lot of research, and it takes a lot of development, and it takes a lot of testing. And now he did spend, I think it was $5 billion on purchasing the rights to this drug. And I did the math one time, and I can't remember what it was, and it was something like he had to sell like 145,000 of these things or prescriptions or something like that to break even at the current price. And it's a drug that's not used a lot. It's very limited. And so, obviously he needed to raise the price. $750, maybe that's a little excessive. But there's also, there's the side of me that goes, if you don't like it,
okay. And I follow your thinking. I think it is a windfall profit, but I'm opposed to what he did. And let's just do the math a little bit. How many did you say he had to sell for break even? 500,000.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 145,000 or something. I can't remember. I did the math like when it first came out. I went and did the math, and I'm like, okay, 750 is a bit excessive, but I understand.
Okay, but let's just call it 250,000 then.
Okay, great. That works.
Of those pills to break even. And if it is for infection and it's a broader based use than just AIDS, regardless of what you do it, you're going to take it on a regular regimen, and which means that you're going to take it at least 2 or 3 times a day. It's not going to be a once a day thing. So let's just say you're taking it twice a day. That's 60 for one person. That's 60 in a month, right? That's 720 in a year. So it's 720 in a year for one person. Now, I don't know how many AIDS victims are out there that are using this, but if we use it for all infections, I'm guessing that there are more than 250 people out there. And all they would need is 250 people to be on that drug to get to the break even. So now justify it going to a 5,000% increase in cost.
Oh, I never was going to justify that big of an increase.
Oh, okay. So I misunderstood you. I thought you were justifying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like I said, $750 seems excessive, but there needs to be a price increase. I'm sure somewhere along the lines, because the thing is, this is just one drug, and apparently it's a much needed drug. And if all he's going to do is just speak out in existence selling this stuff, he's never going to be able to use that money to do further research and development, which is what he supposedly claims that that's what he wants to do with it, was to do more research and development. Maybe he just wants to go get a really nice yacht. I don't know. But there needs to be a reward system in place unfortunately, socialism doesn't work.
Yeah, but now you're going in the direction that I'd like to see you go, and that is no. It's a humanitarian thing. I think there are some things where it's not a supply and demand and profitability issue, and there has to be some subsidies involved. I don't see that necessarily as socialism, but as humanitarianism. And so it seems to me that if you've got a company like this that is going to do research and development that costs it millions of dollars, and that they come out with it, they should have the rightful anticipation of profitability to be able to reap a reward commensurate with the risks that they took to bring this to market. And I think that part of that profitability, first of all, I think that in the cases of cancer or AIDS or things like that, these things need to be subsidized by the federal government, by all the taxpayers, and I don't see that as socialism. But the other thing I think is, if you're going to spend those millions of dollars on research and development, there needs to be some tax incentive. You already get a research and development tax break as a manufacturer in the tax code, and you also, which by the way is 20% of the money that you spend on that becomes a tax credit, not a tax deduction. So, and the difference being that if you're in, let's just say you're in a 10% tax bracket, and you get and you owe $100 in tax, and you get a $10 tax credit, you now owe $90 in tax. But if you get a 10% tax a 10% tax credit, you get a $10 tax. So it's $10. It's 10% of the tax you owe that is reduced. So you only wind up getting about $3 out of that thing. If the government was going to be serious about taking care of all of the people, including those diseases that very few people have, those unique diseases that people die, but there's not enough of them to warrant research and development and the money involved to get this happening. In a case like that, what you need to do is say, hey, what we will do is we will give you tax credits equal to the research and development money that you spent, so that on that amount of money, your first profits that come in will not be taxable. And that makes sense. And then keep those prices down for those people in need that have it and can't afford those prescriptions. Because otherwise, what you're going to see is what you're seeing today with Obamacare. Who the heck can afford it? The price of Obamacare is going up. The price of medical practices are going up. It's going up because of malpractice and tort laws and things like that. And if we can't get some of these things down to lower the litigation, if all we have is doctors that are ordering tests that they don't really need, but to cover their butts in case they get sent into court, we're never going to solve this problem. And there's a blanket way that it could be done, and it wouldn't hurt the country. And you could call it socialism, I suppose, but I call it humanitarianism.
And I agree with you on the humanitarianism part. If it's for certain kinds of diseases, if it's something that's, Lou Gehrig's or Kennedy's or, some sort of neurological thing that they really don't know what causes it. It's a rare disease, that they don't understand where it comes from. It's just something that develops as you get older. That I get. Now, here's my problem that I have with this specific drug is, in 99.9% of the AIDS cases, and I'm going to talk United States, I'm not going to get into Africa and all these other places where it's a really big problem, but here in the United States, because really, this is face the truth, most Americans don't really give a crap about what's going on in other countries. They just want to know, do we get our toys and do we get them for free? They don't really care if Africa is getting what it wants or whatever.
Sure.
But, so I'm going to focus on the United States. And I did the research, and then I hope I would get the numbers. I'm going to be pretty darn close. 57% of new AIDS cases, over the last however many, probably, it's been at least 20 years anyway. They've learned to screen, the blood transfusions and those things after, we had the debacles back in the 80s when it first came out. But pretty much all of the new cases, 50% are sexually transmitted male to male. Okay, through homosexual activity. 12%, I think, is through needle share. No, 12% is through heterosexual contact, and they say that maybe some of that may even be needle sharing, and 20-something%, I can't remember the exact numbers, but the rest of it is pretty much through needle sharing and those types of things. Basically, when you look at the numbers, it boils down to pretty much 100% of all new AIDS cases in recent history are from lifestyle choices that have been made.
So we should let them die? Are you saying that because they caused this themselves, that we should let them die in the gutters because we don't value that life and we shouldn't try and help them?
I am not saying that we should let them die, but I am saying that there's got to come a point in our society where there's accountability for your actions. And if we tell people, look, you know what, like I don't like the supposed HPV anti-cancer vaccine. I think it's horrible. Because again, that is a lifestyle choice that people make. You know, if you get HPV from someone it's almost always sexually transmitted. It's because of a lifestyle that you want to live. I'm not saying that the lifestyle is bad. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that it's a lifestyle choice that we want to make in our culture. We need to understand there are repercussions that go along with it. And those people who don't want to live that lifestyle should not be forced to pay for the people who don't want to live that lifestyle and not protect themselves from the repercussions of that lifestyle.
Okay, so let's go in another direction, because we're getting into a moral and ethical issue going on here. When we come back, when we come back, instead of talking about alternative lifestyles and AIDS and that kind of stuff, I'm going to take it in another direction, the same kind of a deal, but in another direction, and try and get your take on it. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900, or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy Sean LaFave, and Sean and I are talking about, well, you know what? We're talking about profitability. So, Sean, let's keep this going in the same direction. We can still keep talking about AIDS, and we can keep, but I want to move in something else as well. And perhaps just thinking about this, if it weren't so horribly profitable for, or tremendously profitable for medical science and the pharmaceutical industry, do you think that perhaps that by now we would have already had a cure for both cancer and AIDS? Maybe it's just profit motives that are getting in the way, in that we should be looking at this in a different direction.
Yeah, I would obviously be pure speculation, because maybe there isn't a cure for cancer, but there is, and for both. The thing is, for both cancer and for AIDS, there are massive preventive measures that can be taken for both of those, and I think that's where we're really missing the mark. Is we're not really. The effort is, the pink ribbons and I know it's, you go to these places that, they put pink on everything. Totino's Pizza, they put it on Mike's Hard Apple Cider, stuff that
let's go, but let's get bigger. How about the billions upon billions of dollars in foreign aid that we spend that could go to medical research to eradicate cancer and AIDS? And that would help, that would help people worldwide.
Well, it would be great if we could eradicate it, but like I said, I don't know that there is a way to. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible that there is no cure.
Or is it possible that we're just not trying because it's too profitable not to do it?
And I believe there's a big part of that too as well. And there are. In fact, I saw a cartoon little thing, like one of those little memes or whatever. And it says this doctor talking to his patient, and he says, "Well." He said, we've run out of options, so as a last resort, we're going to try an alternative form of care that has a 96% effective rate. And I think that there are things out there like, even marijuana. As much as I'm not a big fan of it myself, it has a lot of benefits, even with cancer. It's been absolutely proven time and time again that with cancer, if you treat the body instead of try to fight the cancer, you can actually help a person overcome cancer. It's all about, cancer feeds off of sugar. It feeds off of an acidic environment.
Yeah, see, I hit your sour point, didn't I? Because you do believe that there are things you can do that are preventative to these major diseases. But you know what? If there are things that would prevent or help make you immune, the immunity system against these kinds of diseases, then there must be some clue as how to get rid of them after you've gotten them. So, I agree.
Now, AIDS, I don't know that there's a way to prevent or cure AIDS. Cancer, I believe you can prevent it. Well, AIDS is easy to prevent. You just don't have sex with a whole lot of people. You don't share needles with people. And it's not a homosexual or a heterosexual. It's not like, when I say a lifestyle choice, I don't mean gay people. I mean people who have multiple sex partners is what I mean. Whether because it happens to straight and gay people.
Yeah, but you know what? Let me take you to a more personal thing. Way back in the early 80s, I got into a horrific accident. One day I'll talk to you about it. But I got into a horrific accident, and they put tons of blood in me. And those were before the days that they had AIDS screening. And so what wound up happening is that everybody was scared to death after that. That everybody wanted me to, I went to get insurance policy, stuff like that. They wanted to check my blood, and they wanted to check it for this and check it for that. Everybody was scared to death. Well, what about those people that actually contracted AIDS because of transfusions before they even knew about it? And it didn't actually manifest itself until many years later.
Yeah, and I actually, that is not the case. That just doesn't happen anymore these days. At least if it does, you just don't hear about it.
That's because we've gotten past the incubation. That's because we've gotten past the incubation point. But in that era, would you have taken the same stand that you're taking today?
No, of course not, because this was something that it wasn't a lifestyle choice for that person. I actually know someone personally that's her husband got AIDS from a blood transfusion, didn't realize it. He passed it on to her. They had a baby. she passed it on to their first baby. While she was pregnant with their second child, he started getting sick. They tested him, found out he had AIDS. They tested her, found out she had AIDS. They tested the son that was alive. He had AIDS. And they were able to do a cesarean section with her. They were able to do it where there's clean cut, no blood. As long as there's no blood transfer, you're good, because the placenta can protect from HIV. They were able to do a cesarean section with her, and their youngest child was HIV negative, so he never got HIV. And it's it is a terribly sad story, because the husband / father in this scenario died of the complications from AIDS. The oldest child, he was just knew that he had to take pills.
Well, I'll give you one that's still happening today. What about the guy that's cheating on his wife, and he's out either with a hooker or some other gal, she's got AIDS and doesn't tell him. He goes home and then has sex with his wife, and his wife gets AIDS.
Yeah, and that happens, and that is certainly, obviously, I think that's probably an exception to the rule. I'm sure it happens, but it's there are always exceptions to every rule, but you can't dictate policy off of the 1%, because someone got screwed. 1% of the population gets screwed.
Isn't that what Congress is doing with the tax laws today?
Well, of course that's what they're doing, but that doesn't mean that I have to agree with them.
I know.
But it's a sad deal. Yeah, if a guy is going out, there are certainly guys who are sleeping around. Maybe it's a guy who's confused. He doesn't know if he's gay or if he's straight, but he's married. Now he kind of likes guys, and he contracts AIDS, and then he goes home and gives it to his wife, and bam, it's no fault of hers.
Yeah, and that's the point. And that's the point I'm trying to make. That there are innocent cases. It's not just people that have a lifestyle that caused that. There are innocent cases in it.
And there are innocent cases, but that's not the majority. It's a very, very, very tiny minority of the cases. And so, if people
if people like red meat, and they like all the fats, and they like to drink, and they do all those things, and they get cancer, I guess they deserve that too?
No, absolutely not. No, and I've said this before. It drives me crazy. And I, as a person who used to go to church on a regular basis and all this stuff, the thing that drove me nuts, absolutely drove me nuts about the church, is every time they'd have a social gathering, there was cupcakes and ice cream and candy and all this. People would just bring. People don't even cook at these potlucks anymore. Sometimes they'll just go buy packaged foods that's been highly processed, and it's got hydrogenated oil, and then they sit around and they pray for each other, because Bob's got cancer, and Jane's got diabetes, and on and on and on. And they're going, I'm going, people, you wouldn't have all these diseases if you would bring some vegetables.
Oh, you almost said it, didn't you? Boy, your mom is listening to you. You know that, right? And she knows you all.
Obviously, it's a passionate thing for me. Eat some vegetables for once instead of bringing cupcakes and ding dongs. Bring some vegetables. Like when I would go to these things, I would roast. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to move past that almost slip, but I would bring guacamole, I would bring nuts, and I would bring olives, and stuff like. I would try to bring healthy food and give people an option that they could eat something that was healthy. But I would bring up a vegetable platter or something. but it does. I don't believe that anybody who lifestyles themselves into a disease of any kind, whether it's cancer or diabetes, that I don't believe they deserve a right to free health care over that, because that was a choice they made.
I wasn't saying free health care. I was saying subsidized health care, and it was not just for them. It was for
even subsidized. I mean, subsidized is just part of it is free.
Well, but you're never going to convince me that a 5,000% increase in the cost of a medication that the research and development has already been done is justified. Especially when we just did the math and
I did. I even said that in the beginning, that's a bit exorbitant, and it was it didn't need to be that much. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you knew this, but through the all the death threats and everything else that he got from that, he actually lowered the price, and I don't remember what the new prices, but he lowered it substantially, because he realized, okay, you know what, the world's going to hate me for the rest of my life if I don't do this. And he must have had a reason for choosing $750. I don't know why, but obviously it wasn't because he likes making people happy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So no, I believe that there needs to be a lot more accountability and a lot more responsibility in our country on every level. Should we take care of those people who, no fault of their own, end up diseased or impoverished or whatever? Absolutely, I do. But I do believe, we were talking about the Bible earlier, and it's so funny. I had someone tell me, like, well, the Bible always contradicts itself, and I'm like, and I'm a firm believer that the Bible really doesn't. You just got to understand the context of everything. But there's two verses in the Bible. One says, that you should always give to those who ask. Those who need, you should always give to them. But then there's another verse in the same time frame that says, anyone who is capable of work, he should work. And it's like, well, okay, you don't know if the guy's capable of working or not, so you should give to him. But I'm a firm believer that we should take care of those who need to be taken care of. The widows, the orphans, as they stereotypically call them, the people who just don't have the means to take care of themselves or are innocent victims, like you talked about the wife in the scenario. I believe those people deserve to be taken care of. But I also believe that, that unfortunately a lot of times they're going to become collateral damage. And we as a culture, we have learned to accept collateral damage in a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. And actually I agree. I do agree with you with that. I think that there is reasonableness. I do believe there's a law against windfall profits. I think that there are some things that are just ugly on their surface and that just go against my grain. I'm certainly not a socialist, even though there are some areas where I think that it works out to some good. And so, having said that, we've got about 2.5 minutes or something left. And I don't know if you finished what your thought was there, but I was going to move you into another 3 minutes.
I think we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's the deal. China. They're building man-made islands in the China Sea. And they are declaring them to be the imperial property of the country of China, and they are imposing the international water laws there, saying that you now cannot go through the China Sea if you're anywhere near these islands because you don't have permission to come into our territory. They're spotting these islands so you can't get anywhere near China without their permission. What do you think about that? They're man-made now, not created by nature.
I think it's a crock. Like you can't just go out and basically it's like building a wall on top of the water and saying, well, that wall belongs to us now. You have to stay so many miles back away from this wall. And then when they don't like that, they're going to build another wall of islands, even further out, until they reach, the United States. So no, it's absolutely ludicrous to think that you could build an island and a man-made island because. We do that. We build man-made islands all the time. We call them oil rigs.
Yeah.
But they don't become they're property of someone. But that doesn't mean you can't sell your warship right next to it because it's in international waters. It's not. It's a ship at that point.
Yeah.
Even if it's anchored to a piece of ground below it, it's still a building or a ship or something along those lines. Yeah. It's not an island at all. It's not even close to an island. Yeah.
I can just see China kind of putting in these stepping stones so that they have their own imperial property right next to North Korea, South Korea, Russia, the United States, Hawaii. They're going to have their own imperial properties there that you can't sail next to, but they can put anything on those properties they want, like those little things that you light that have bombs on the tops of them.
Landmines?
Missiles.
Oh, missiles. Oh, sorry. I was like, what? Yes, missiles. Yeah, exactly. Oh, now they got missiles. Yeah, sure. Build a missile silo in the middle of the ocean and call it an island and say that it's an island and we took, what I might think is if you call it an island, cool, we'll go to war with you and we'll take it from you.
So guess what?
Yep.
We are out of time.
I know. Even the hour goes by fast when we're talking.
Can you believe it?
This was fun.
This was so much fun. I just loved it, and boy, do I have the right guy to share it with. I want to let everybody know that Sean is going to be back with me on Tuesday, doing the exact same thing. And so, you know what? I guess I'm going to have to do some study to figure out how I'm going to blindside you, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna start reading current events.
No, I love this. I love the way that we can have a dialogue going back and fast. You're a very articulate young man, and I think that this was a terrific show. I just want to thank you so much for helping me get through it.
Well, thank you, Robert. I look forward to next week as well. It's going to be a fun time, and you have a fantastic weekend.
All right, you too. Have a great weekend. Make everybody's life you touch better because of, will you?
Do what again?
I say make everybody's life better because you touched them, will you?
Man, I sure hope so. Same to you, my friend.
All right. Now, don't go away. When we come back, it'll be happy birthday for everybody today, and it'll be the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
You and I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Normally right now we do birthdays, but we're going to kind of change that around a little bit. We're still going to do them, but I want to start off with the management tip of the day. And the Harvard Business Tip today is performance reviews can take as little as 10 minutes. You know, there's growing evidence that conventional performance reviews are not working. One major issue is the time commitment that they actually require. When many employees already get feedback regularly, formal reviews just take too long. Now, a faster but still effective method is the 10-minute tough love review. Here's how it goes. Create a spreadsheet with 2 columns. Tough, a few phrases about where the employee's falling short, and love, a few phrases about what she's doing well. or him for that matter. Then, during the review, explain that your goal is to identify both positive traits and areas for improvement. Tailor your message to show that the review is about helping the employee. Then, ask the employee how he prefers feedback. Kind and nurturing? Pointed and direct? Use his answer to decide whether to start with tough or love. Now, after taking or talking through the points on your spreadsheet, use the last few minutes to let the employee respond to what you said. You'll be shocked at how really efficient this system is, and you'll be glad that you used it. Now, you know what today is, right? Sure you do. It's Thursday, November the 5th, and it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. Let's see. We've got some good ones here today. Did you know that, you know who Tina Turner is? Well, you know, she got her last name from Ike Turner. It used to be Ike and Tina Turner. He wound up being a wife beater and a bum, but truth is today was his birthday, and I thought I'd explain to, I'm not even sure why I even acknowledged it. I don't like the guy. How about this one? Born in 1946, died in 1973, a singer, songwriter, guitarist, and pianist who was a member of the Byrds. Happy birthday, Graham Parsons. And here's somebody we all know, born 1963, actress best known for her film work as a child actress. She remains at the age of 10, the youngest actor to win a competitive Academy Award. Happy birthday, Tatum O'Neal. Yeah. Well, what happened today in history? Well, November the 5th, 1743, coordinated scientific observations of the transit of Mercury are organized by Joseph Nicholas Delisle. And in 1940, Franklin Delano Roosevelt is elected to the third term as President of the United States. Isn't that something? And by the way, you know who finished that out, right? Yeah, Truman. And in 1968, the United States presidential election took place. And in 1968, Republican Richard Nixon wins the American presidency in what turned out to be a decades-long realignment election. Yeah. And that was realignment of the districts and regions and stuff. Well, our quote for today comes from Agnes Rapelier, and she says, "There are few nudities so objectionable as the naked truth." Boy, isn't that a fact? Give that some thought, right? Yeah. Well, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. And we've got a number of them for you. I'm never going to run out of them, so hopefully you enjoy them as much as I do. Did you know that snails can sleep for 3 years? Boy, you can be jealous of so many different things these days, huh? How about this? The United States produces more tobacco than it does wheat. Now, there is a scary thought. You're thinking about it. I wonder what my good buddy Sean LaFave would say about that. Did you know to crack a whip, the tip must be traveling faster than the speed of sound, because that little crack you hear is breaking the sound barrier, and that's what's going on. Now, how about this one? Did you know that avocados have more protein than any other fruit? Yep, that's a fact. How about this one? Did you know raindrops are not tear-shaped? They more resemble the shape of a tiny hamburger bun. And it's because of gravity and the falling. Here's one. Fingernails grow nearly 4 times faster than toenails. And did you know that the fastest growing fingernail is the middle finger's fingernail? It must be like a signpost or something, right? Yeah. How about this one? 60 cows can produce a ton of milk a day. Wow. Isn't that something? So you got to figure out how many pounds there are in a gallon to figure out how many gallons that winds up being. I'm not going to do that for you. Hey, Shirley Temple made $1 million by the age of 10. When she was 10 years old, she'd already made $1 million. Wow. Can you imagine? And what a talent she was. Gosh. And there are more cells in the human body than there are people living on Earth. Speaking of which, there's about 7 billion people live on this Earth, and they're talking about that doubling in the next 15 years. Now, there is a real scary thought. Did you know that Captain Kirk never said, "Beam me up, Scotty"? But he did say, "Beam me up, Mr. Scott." Well, you could probably win that in a trivia thing, right? Did you know that cats often rub up against people and furniture to lay their scent and mark their territory? They do it this way as opposed to the way dogs do it because they have scent glands in their faces. Isn't that's cool? Better than the way dogs do it anyway, because they just pee on your leg. And let me finish with this. Although jellyfish and crayfish have the word fish in their name, they aren't actually fish. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. My first email comes from Andrew Kim from Athens, Tennessee, asking about the statute of limitations. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're coming down to the wire. I want you to know that at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time, currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way to 46 degrees. Boy, I'll tell you what, looks like summer's gone and winter is here, and it's getting cold. Compared to just a week ago, we had 100-degree temperatures. Anyway, I want to remind you this is an entertainment section of the show, and I try to answer your emails as best I can and as thoroughly as I can. But sometimes the data you give me in those emails is just a little sketchy. So we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional. They're always going to save you more money than they cost you. You know what? And one of the things they're going to give you is peace of mind and let you sleep at night, because they have to have errors and omissions insurance as one of the conditions of their licensing. It's the same thing as malpractice insurance, but it does mean that if they make a mistake, you don't pay the piper, they do. So you don't have to worry about the doorbell ringing or the phone ringing or somebody knocking on your door or registered letters anymore. Just do it right. Now, my first email comes from Andrew Kim from Athens, Tennessee, asking about the statute of limitations, and says, when does the 3-year statute of limitations start on my tax return so it will be safe from an audit? Well, Andrew, the IRS generally has 3 years to audit a tax return, starting from the later of its original due date or the date on which it was actually filed. So, if you file your return before April the 15th, the 3-year period starts on April the 15th, while if you file later, it starts on your return's actual filing date. Now, you need to be careful here. The limitation period is 6 years if your return understates income by more than 25%, and there is no limitation period if you commit fraud on your return or don't file at all. So keep that in mind. Now, next email comes from Nathan Claude from Burton, Michigan, asking about donated shares. And he says, years ago, a friend donated shares of his private corporation to charity, claimed a deduction for their value, and had the charity redeem them for cash from the company. So he got a deduction for the stock that he donated. Now, I'm in a position to do the same thing. Is it still legal? Well, Nathan, yes. This is legal if the redemption is voluntary with the charity and not required by a pre-existing agreement. That is, the charity must have the legal right to keep those shares, although in practice, it probably will want the cash obtained from redeeming them. But tax-wise, the deal is not as favorable as it once was. Lower top personal tax rates mean that the charity deduction saves less tax, and today's low 15% capital gains tax rate offers more after-tax cash from selling the shares. But this is still a valid way to help a charity if that's what you want to do. Now, next email comes from Aaron Kwan from Palos Verdes, California, asking about a vacant rental, and says, I own a house that I rent out. A family that had rented it moved out before their lease was up. I can't rent the house quickly, so it was vacant for several months. Can I deduct my lost rental income? Well, unfortunately, Aaron, the answer to your question is no. You have no deductible loss for tax purposes. Since you received no rental income for several months, you simply report zero rent in your income for that period. But that lack of income, combined with your normal expenses of maintaining the property, may or may not produce a deductible loss from your rental activity. Also, if you believe that you were wronged by your tenant's failure to pay you the rent owed to you under their lease, you can sue them for it under the terms of the lease in your local court system. But any award you receive will be taxable income to you, so keep that in mind. Last email today comes from Faith Lawless from Union City, New Jersey, asking about IRA contributions, and says, can I contribute stocks that I own to my IRA? If not, can I contribute cash to my IRA and have them buy it, the stocks back from me? Well, there's two questions, and the answers are no and no. All IRA contributions must be made in cash. The only way that an IRA can receive non-cash assets is through a transfer from another retirement account. Now, here's an example. If an employer-sponsored 401k plan account holds stock shares, they can be transferred to the IRA. In addition, an IRA may be disqualified and lose its tax-favored status if it engages in any of a list of prohibited transactions. Now, prominent amongst these is any sale, exchange, or lease with its owner or a member of its owner's immediate family. That would be spouse, ancestor, lineal descendant, any of those kind of things. So for more details, go see publication 590. That's the individual tax arrangements, and you'll be able to get a better idea of what's actually going on there. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. Now, on my next show, Dr. Stephen Tidwell is talking about tomorrow's dentistry today, and David Garrett continues his series, Garrett on the Law. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. And you know what? Go out and get my app. If you have Apple, go to the Apple Store. It's free, and just search Robert Cardoza Live, and you'll love it. And if you have just a Windows program or an Android program, go to GooglePlay.com. Do the same thing. Search Robert Cardoza Live. You'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And in the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay happy. I want you to be good, and I want you to make everybody's life you touch better because you did. And all I got to say now is good night, everybody.